10th place, Rubeus Hagrid. Yeah, I know your brain wants to scream, no way, he's broke. But that's one of the biggest misconceptions in the fandom. Hagrid isn't poor, not even close. First, Hogwarts covers everything for him. Food, housing, utilities, magical creature insurance. Okay, maybe not that last one, but honestly it should, considering he keeps a literal dragon egg under the bed. The point is, the man has zero living expenses. Second, he earns a steady Hogwarts salary, first as keeper of keys and grounds, then as care of magical creatures professor. In the wizarding world, Hogwarts staff are paid surprisingly well, especially staff with life risk positions. And Hagrid teaches the subject where your homework can bite your arm off. Third, Hagrid inherits whatever remained of the Hagrid family cabin. Plus, he never spends money on himself. His biggest expenses are dragon steaks for Fang, weird meat for whatever creature he's secretly hiding, a pink umbrella he absolutely refuses to replace. So, while he's not aristocracy, he has solid, stable wealth. No debts, no taxes from the Muggle world, and more savings than most wizards his age. Hagrid isn't rich, but he's definitely not poor. Middle-class king. 9th place, Hermione Granger. She starts life as a Muggle born with absolutely zero magical inheritance. But Hermione is the definition of, I'll build it myself. And she does, spectacularly. First, let's talk about her parents. They're dentists in central London, one of the highest earning medical adjacent professionals in the UK. Even if Hermione didn't inherit their entire practice, she absolutely grew up in a financially stable, upper middle class Muggle home. Not Weasley budgeting gnome food level, comfortable. But once she enters the wizarding world, Hermione becomes a career monster. She works her way up the ministry like it's a side quest. Department of Magical Law Enforcement, then Magical Creatures Reform, then all the way to Minister of Magic. Ministers can earn extremely high salaries, benefits, and long-term pensions. Combine that with Hermione's personality, someone who spends money only on books, quills, and occasionally punching Draco Malfoy in the face, and you get an impressive accumulated net worth. Plus, she marries Ron, who eventually co-owns Weasley's Wizard Wheezies, a hugely profitable business in Diagon Alley. Yes, Ron is terrible with money, but Hermione runs the household, so we know who's actually managing the galleons. Hermione didn't start wealthy, she became wealthy. The ultimate self-made witch. 8th place, Minerva McGonagall. Here's why. Hogwarts salaries are shockingly high, especially for professors with advanced magical mastery. McGonagall taught Transfiguration for decades, one of the hardest subjects in the curriculum. She was a registered animagus, which alone requires insane magical skill. Deputy headmistress, head of Gryffindor House, and later headmistress of Hogwarts. Every one of those positions stacks salary, benefits, and prestige. But the real reason she's this high on the list, McGonagall never spends money on anything. She's the definition of frugal. No vacations, no luxury robes, no dragon leather anything. Just tartan shawls, tea, and discipline. She lived at Hogwarts, meaning free housing, free meals, free transportation. She basically had 50 plus years of income with no cost of living, minus the occasional therapeutic biscuit after dealing with the Weasley twins. By retirement age, her savings would be staggering, and unlike characters with inherited wealth, McGonagall's money is 100% clean, untouched by scandal, war, or family curses. Minerva is quietly one of the richest normal witches alive. Old money? No. Old savings? Absolutely. 7th place, Lucius Malfoy, the wizarding world's poster child for generational wealth, political influence, and suspiciously shiny walking sticks. The Malfoy family has been rich for centuries. We're talking old money, old estates, old artifacts, and old crimes hidden under very expensive rugs. Malfoy Manor alone is so large it might technically qualify as its own zip code. Before the Second Wizarding War, Lucius had access to everything. An enormous family vault, priceless magical artifacts, rare dark objects, political connections that kept his taxes and crimes mysteriously low. But, and this is why he's not in the top 5, after Voldemort's fall, the Ministry froze a large portion of Malfoy's assets. Investigations, fines, public shame, the whole package. His wealth didn't disappear, but his spendable public-facing fortune shrank drastically. Still, Lucius remains extremely wealthy because private property cannot be fully seized. Ancient land ownership still generates generates income. The Malfoy vault is massive, even after reductions. Narcissa likely had her own black family dowry. Lucius didn't just inherit money, he inherited influence, status, and a vault the size of a small ecosystem. Even post-prison Lucius is richer than almost anyone else on this list. 6th place, Harry Potter. He may look like just a kid with a scar and a firebolt, but financially, Harry is quietly one of the richest young wizards of his generation. First, he inherits the entire Potter family vault, which wasn't just some random pile of galleons. The Potters were a historically wealthy family, thanks to generations of magical innovation. 2 famous Potter ancestors made fortunes from Skellygrow, the bone regrowing potion, Pepper Up potion enhancements, early wand polish enhancement businesses. These products were sold wisely, especially to St. Mungo's and broomstick manufacturers. Second, Harry inherited multiple properties, including the Potter Cottage in Godric's Hollow, and whatever additional assets James and Lily accumulated from ministry work. Third, Harry's cost of living is hilariously low. Sirius leaves him a massive inheritance too, Grimmauld Place, Creature, and the entire Black Estate tied to Sirius's branch of the family. That's old money. Add to that Auror salaries, high, later becoming head of the Auror office, higher, plus 0 interest in luxury spending. Harry is generationally wealthy without ever trying. He didn't just defeat Voldemort, he also accidentally speed-ran becoming a millionaire. 5th place, Bellatrix Lestrange. Bellatrix is one of the primary heirs of the Black family, and the Black Vault is canonically one of the oldest and richest elite vaults in all of wizarding history. The Blacks invested for centuries in ancient properties, dark artifacts, expensive enchanted heirlooms, goblin-wrought metals and jewelry, basically generational wealth soaked in pure aristocratic snobbery. Bellatrix doesn't inherit everything. Sirius gets the main line by birthright, but she receives a massive share of the Black fortune through her marriage to Rodolphus Lestrange and her own dowry. And while she spends a lot on dark arts paraphernalia, she's never shown to struggle financially. In fact, Voldemort trusts her with priceless magical objects, the cup, the sword decoy, cursed books, because she has the kind of high security vault only the ultra-rich can afford. Bellatrix is richer than the Malfoys in terms of pure untouched family wealth, not frozen by the ministry. If Lucius is rich, Bellatrix is aristocracy turned up to I own an entire wing of Gringotts. 4th place, Severus Snape, the most financially misunderstood wizard in the entire series. He looks poor because he dresses like he buys everything from the all-black clearance bin. But the reality? Snape is quietly loaded. First, he inherits his parents' house in Spinner's End. Not glamorous, but it's paid-off property. And in the UK, that's already a fortune. Second, and more importantly, Snape is a potion prodigy. Canon confirms he invented spells, created counter curses, improved multiple potion recipes, wrote cutting-edge magical notes used by NEWT students. This isn't just fun talent. In the wizarding world, potion innovation is a major industry. St. Mungo's, the ministry, and even private apothecaries pay enormous sums for new formulas and improvements. Snape could easily have sold or even been compensated for his work. Think of how profitable a single enhancement to a healing potion would be. And unlike Lucius, his wealth is never frozen by the ministry. Third, Snape barely spends money. No hobbies, no social life, no family vacations. His biggest expense is maybe quill ink and passive-aggressive remarks. Decades of Hogwarts salary plus private research income plus 0 spending equals a quiet fortune. Snape is the richest non-aristocrat on this list. 3rd place, Albus Dumbledore. Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore, the closest thing the wizarding world has to a magical Nobel Prize factory. Let's start with his career. Dumbledore is the most celebrated scholar of the century, published academic papers, created original magical artifacts, produced breakthroughs in magical theory, won the Order of Merlin first class, was offered the Minister of Magic position multiple times. In the wizarding world, magical scholarship pays very, very well. Research grants, royalties, consulting for the ministry. Alchemical work, Dumbledore had income streams from everywhere. And there's the kicker. He worked closely with Nicholas Flamel on alchemical studies. Even being in the same room as the creator of the Philosopher's Stone basically guarantees long-term wealth. He didn't get infinite money like Flamel, but he definitely shared intellectual property worth fortunes. Plus, Hogwarts salaries for heads of departments and headmasters are extremely high. Dumbledore lived at Hogwarts Hogwarts for decades. No rent, no food costs, no utilities. His biggest expense was probably lemon drops. Dumbledore didn't flaunt his wealth, but his lifetime of awards, discoveries, and high-ranking positions makes him one of the richest wizards ever. The man wasn't just wise, he was quietly loaded. Second place, Gellert Grindelwald. Unlike others on this list, Gellert didn't come from an ancient pureblood dynasty, no sprawling estates, no inherited vault full of dusty heirlooms. Grindelwald created his fortune the same way he created chaos, by taking it. During his rise across Europe, he seized control of entire magical regions, which gave him direct access to national government vaults, restricted magical arsenals, goblin-crafted artifacts, private family libraries lost to war, priceless relics confiscated from defeated opponents. Basically, he didn't rob vaults, he took the vault owners. And honestly, with the amount of gold he controlled, he could have bought Voldemort a nose, maybe even two, just in case. But jokes aside, controlling territory in the wizarding world isn't symbolic, it's financial. It means magical taxation, resource extraction, artifact confiscation, wand regulation, and control over trade routes for rare magical substances. Grindelwald essentially ran a shadow government with its own economy. His fortress, Nurmengard, was never just a prison. It was a stockpile, a museum of forbidden magic, a treasury filled with objects too dangerous or too politically explosive ever to be publicly documented. The ministry barely scratched the surface of what he accumulated. Even after his fall, a significant portion of Grindelwald's wealth was never recovered. Hidden vaults, sealed chambers, cursed rooms, a silent empire with no heir. Grindelwald didn't become wealthy through family privilege. He became wealthy through conquest. He is the wealthiest dark wizard in history, except for one man. First place, Nicholas Flamel. Flamel lived for over 660 years. Let that sink in for a moment. If a normal wizard works for 40 to 50 years and retires with decent savings, imagine multiplying that by 13 lifetimes. Even if Flamel saved just 5% of his yearly income, compounding wealth over 6 centuries turns Malfoy Manor into something that looks like a cozy Airbnb. But longevity isn't even the real reason he's untouchable. The reason Flamel sits on a throne made of pure economic domination is the Philosopher's Stone. The stone creates unlimited gold and the elixir of life, meaning Flamel had both infinite money and infinite time to spend it, invest it, and reinvest it. It's basically the wizarding world's original money printer, except magical and 100% legal until the ministry started panicking. And he wasn't reckless. Flamel and his wife, Perenelle, built their empire carefully, investing in rare magical artifacts, alchemical laboratories, protected magical properties, ancient manuscripts, discreet philanthropic foundations. Flamel lived modestly not because he had to, but because after 600 plus years, luxury stops being exciting. You don't flex your wealth when you literally are the economy. No witch or wizard in recorded history comes close. Flamel isn't just rich, he's the only wizard with a literal infinite money device. The stone wasn't just powerful, it was the world's first magical ATM. But you know one thing wizards can't buy no matter how much money they have? The Elder Wand. And your next lesson is about all 14 controversial masters of the Elder Wand. Click now before Nicholas Flamel wakes up from his nap.